Good morning, everyone. It's very good morning. Shall we start the session? We are talking about the word wiki or word text presentation or the wiki text presentation of paper 2.1 that we are discussing on the properties and the methods and the actions. So one is the property or the method, the name, return type. Then in the next part, property application, then application auto load boolean, property compiled boolean, creator int32. Then method delete void, property index int32, then installed boolean, name string, parent object, path string. So these are the few methods that is represented with the wiki text representation of this table. And this is used to make the return type, to make the property allocation, to make the delete creation, to make the data type variation. We can say that it depends on the requirement of the user. So we will use the Visual Studio 2005 to create a console application. After this, we have to choose the new project, and this will show the variety of the project type, C# object, C# node from the list of the project type, and choose the Windows mode for node under the Visual C# node. This is slightly counterfeit with the basic needs of the data, how they are trying out or how they are reading about, how it is using the Outlook. Then name your console with the console application. Use the word wiki. Now that console application is known as the word wiki. Note that the new project dialog can have a different appearance. These have a different appearance. These have a different PSTO project adding object. After you choose the Windows format node, you will see in the window to the right to the available templates. So choose the console application template. Name your console application project, then click on the OK button to create your project. Whatever the OK button criteria, whatever the we can say the method that we are following up, name your console that application and click on the OK button. So we have created about the console application known as the word wiki. And note that the new project dialog can have a different appearances than the one that's shown in. That depends on the profile we are using. So in this book, we are assuming that we are using or you are using the Visual C# development setting profile, and you can change your profile by choosing the import and the export settings. So that depends. Yeah, this can be done within the tools menu of the import and the export settings. So this is a new project, then Windows from the Visual C#, then there is a console application. Within the console application, yeah, this is the name is the word wiki, location is the C Visual Studio projects, creates new solution, that is a solution, then console application, solution name is word wiki. So this is how we are creating a console application from the new project dialog. And when you click on the OK button, this automatically creates a console application project for you. So Visual Studio displays the content of the project in the Solution Explorer window. This is a Solution Explorer window, Word Wiki, properties, assembly, info.cs, references, system.data, system.xml, then program.cs. So these are the various solutions that will be displayed with the Visual Studio, Word Wiki, Solution Explorer window that is used with the console application. So this console application project, Word Wiki, have been shown in the Solution Explorer that will decide whether these items have a property to change, whether these codings have a property to change or not. Now, by default, a newly created console application references the assembly system, system.data, and system.xml. So we also need to add a reference to the Word 2003 PI. That is done. Now let's start again with the basic concepts of the newly consolidated console application. Assembly data, that is the system.data and system.xml. So we also need to add a reference to the Word 2003 PIA. So we do this by right clicking the reference folder, Then choose the iteration. So when we right click on the folder, so there are multiple items that is stored over here. So we can choose from the pop-up menu that appears, we choose from the shortcut menu that appears over here. So this shows that the add reference dialogs is given, and click on the COM tab and choose the Microsoft Word 11.0 object library to add a reference to the Word 2003. Then click on the OK button. This is the COM object that is used with the .NET project, .NET management, .NET Tools, .NET VB, and the commands, command bars, project models, command controls. These are the various controls of the model that is used with the edge reference assemblies, assembly system, system.data, and system.xml. So we have to click on the COM object or COM tab and choose the Microsoft Word 11.0, which is the object library, to add a reference to Word 2003 PIE, and then click on the OK button. So this is a COM 11.0 object library, then OK button. This adds the reference to the Word 2003 PIE and adds an additional reference to the standalone VBIDE and Microsoft.Office.Core PIA that is shown over here. So these additional PIAs are the ones that the word PIA depends on. The standalone is a PIA that contains the definition of some types of or some of the types that COM object models need. These are the object model that needs this. So VBDIA is the PIA for the object model associated with the VB editor integrated into the Office, and this Microsoft.Office.Core, that is Office.dll, is a PIA for some common functionality shared by the Office applications. So this common functionality may be a toolbar, that may be a menu. And note that the proper references have been added to the console application. So let's start writing the code, which is the main code that is used behind it. Double click on the program.cs in the Solution Explorer window to edit the main source code. So whatsoever the main source code is available, so that is available or that is used with the, we can say the data that is used with the records. That has been added to the console application. Let's start writing the code. Double click in this one to show the main source code file. So when we double click, we have to use or double click on the program.cs to open the main source code file for the console application. And if you have omitted or outlining the turned on, you will see the text using at the top of the program.cs file with the plus sign. There is a plus sign that is given to next to it to expand the following, to expand out the code where the using directives are placed. Now add the following three using directives so that you can more easily use objects from the word PIA and the Microsoft.Office.Core PIA as well as the classes in the system.data. So using Office, Microsoft.Office.Core using Word, Microsoft.Office.Interrupt.Word using system.input. So this is the word wiki references. So when you add word wiki, so this dependent PIA references are automatically added to the projects. So we allow some of the namespaces. So we do not have to type out the entire namespace such as a Microsoft.Office.Interrupt.Word every time when we want to declare a word object. And with the alias in place, so we can just type word to specify the namespace. We keep an alias namespace in place for the Word and the Office instead of just typing using Microsoft.Office.Interrupt.Word and importing all of the types to the global scope. And this is because Word and Office define hundreds of the types, and we do not want to all these types potentially colliding with these or with the types we define in our code or with other reference types. And also for the purpose of this book, this code is clearer when it says Word. So application rather than the application. So you know the namespace for the application type that is coming from. So we are now ready to write some code that automates the Word to create a table after reading the text input file into the Word table format. So this table or this listing shows the entire listing of the program. Rather than explaining each line of code in the listing, we focus on the lines of code that automates the Word automatically. So we assume the reader has some knowledge of how to read a text file in .NET and also pass a string via the split method. So we briefly touch on some objects in the word object model here, but when we say about the chapter 6 to 8 programming words, so we are working with the word events and working with the word objects that respectively cover the word object model in much more detail. So the first thing that we do in listing is to declare a new instance of the word application object by adding this line of code to the main method of our program class. This is the word.application. The application equals to new word.application. So although the word.application is an interface, so we are allowed to create a new instance of this interface because the compiler knows that the word.application interface is associated with the COM object. That is done with the COM object, that it knows how to start, how to make the interface with the word application. And when word starts in response to an automation executable, that creates a new instance of its application object. So it starts off without showing any windows. So you can also automate the word in this invisible state when you want to automate the word without confusing the word or without confusing the user by bringing up the word window. For this example, we want to make the word show its main window, and we do this by advertising or by using or by adding this line of code. This is the application.visible equals to true. Next, we want to create a new empty Word document into which we will generate our table. We do this by calling the add button. So we are using the add button on the document selection that we use, returned by the word object application object. So this add button takes 4 optional parameters that we want to omit, and optional parameter in the word method are specified as omitted by passing a reference, a variable containing the special type or value type dot missing. So we declare a variable non and missing that we set to type dot missing, and Spark is pass it by reference to each parameter that we want to comment. So whatever the parameter that we want to comment to, that is used with the type dot missing and pass it by the reference. This is the object missing equals to type dot missing. Word dot document, the document application dot document dot add. Reference missing, reference missing, reference missing, and the reference missing. So with the document that is created, we want to read the input text file that is specified by the command line arguments that is passed to our console application also. So we want to pass that text file to calculate the number of columns and the rows. So when we know the number of the rows and the columns, so we use the following code to get a range object from the document object. So whatever the missing variable that is given to the optional parameters, this range method will give a range, will return a range that includes the entire text of the document, entire part of the document that must be visible to the optional parameters. That must be given to the optional parameter that is given with the entire text of the document. So this is the word dot range that is the document dot range reference missing reference missing. Now let's start the session again. So this is the word dot range that is for capturing, and range in the is a variable name. Then the document dot range reference missing reference missing. So again there are two parts, reference missing and the reference missing. So we then use our range object to add a table known as, or by calling the add method of the tables collection returned by the range object. So we pass the range object again as the first parameter to the add method to specify that we want to replace the entire content of the document with the table. Whatever the content we replace, whatever the document we use, that is replaced within the table. So we also specify the number of the rows and the columns to be won. So this is word dot table, that table, range dot tables add. Now what are the point that is added out? So range, row count, column count, reference missing, reference missing. There are 4 parameters that is given within the add function: range, row count, column count, reference missing, and the reference missing. So the table object has a cell method that takes a row and the columns and also returns a cell object. The cell object has a range property that returns a range object for the cell in the question. that we use to set the text and formatting of the cell. Whatever the code that we set, whatever the cell that we are using in the table, that is shown over here. So note that as in most of the object model, indices are one based, meaning that they start with the 1 as a minimum value rather than the 0 based, because 0 is no value as in case, so it must be starts with the 1 value. So for column index equals to 1, it starts with the 1, it goes till column count and column index plus plus. It is incremented by 1 by 1. Y dot cell, table dot cell, row index, column index, cell dot range dot text, split row, column index. So this is the code to set the formatting of the table by setting the table to size to fit the content, and also bolding the header row that is shown below. So we use the row object driven by the table. That is the rows 1 that have a range property, that have a range object, that must be able to fill the tab. First row must be able to write the code table.rows1 row.range.bold equals to true, table.rows1 bold equals to true, autofit behavior, or autofit behavior, then autofit content. So we have come to a close with the end of the program focus. Now the word quits, that is quit without making the changes, without saving the changes. So this is the quit without saving changes. Object save change equals to false. That means there is no changes that must be followed up. So save changes equals to false. And the application dot quit, the application will be quitted out. Then reference save changes, reference missing, reference missing. So there are three variables, three parameters that are given. That is reference save changes, then missing. And if you do not write this code, so what stay or earning even after the console application exits. So when you show the word window by setting the application object visible property to true, so what puts the lifetime of the object or application in the hands of the end user rather than for automatic program. So as far as the program is concerned, automation executable is concerned, so word continues running, and to force the word to exit, you must call the exit quit method, quit function on the word application object. So you must put the quit function. And if this program did not make the word window visible, say for example, so that creates a document with a table and saves the file without showing the word window. That depends. You have to save the files. You don't want to save the file that when exits or when the program exits and releases all its reference to the word object. Alright. So about the word document that is passes out, so that pass to the file name of the text file as a command line argument to the console application. And you can also set up the debugger to do this by the right clicking on the word Wiki, projecting the solution explorer, and also choose the properties. Now to find out the errors, then click on the debug tab and set the tab command line argument field the name of your text file. So whatever the text file that you want to give, so that then click on the debug tab. You have to click on the debug tab, then set the command line argument field to the name of your text file. That must be given with the debugger to do this, to do this, to do this. Then pass the file name of the text file as a command line arguments. Also set up the debugger to do this right by right clicking. Check out the command line argument field to the text files. Listing out the command line, yes. Quit without saving, one is with saving. Releases a reference, do not make the word window visible, that create the document with the table. Then save a file to all without showing the word window. Automation executable exits, so word continue running. In the same time, it is a lifetime of the object of the application in the hands of the people that is running out, either with the automating the program. That depends on the requirement to requirement of the user. Again, I am saying this is a program that is talked about how